I want you to hit me as hard as you can.
There are so many horror movies to cover, it can get kind of daunting. Standalone horror movies in general, there are still so many I want to give shoutouts to that I'll be bugging you guys for quite some time. Then you have the series of films to discuss. We've done a great job discussing the heavy hitters like Friday the 13th, Halloween, and A Nightmare on Elm Street, but what about the little guys? You know, the also-rans. I plan to cover movies out of the Children of the Corn series, Amityville series, Pumpkinhead series, and maybe even a couple more. Today, though, we're showcasing a movie from a series that is certainly forgotten, sometimes for a good reason. Today, we discuss the Howling III. I want to thank you guys for watching The Black Sheep, and ask if you enjoy our shows, please subscribe to our channel right now. Like this video and click the bell so you can get notified each time a new video goes up. And now, back to the show. The Howling series started with Joe Dante's 1981 classic, The Howling. That movie tends to get overshadowed by An American Werewolf in London because, well, it's a better movie. I personally like London quite a bit more, but that doesn't mean I don't enjoy Dante's film. Not at all. Nor do I think it's undeserving. I mean, hell, there's a third 1981 movie called Wolfen with Albert Finney that is even more forgotten and a hell of a film on its own. London just kind of became the elephant in the room for 1981 werewolf movies, apparently. The Howling series is pretty much known for the first solid one and the notoriously awful Christopher Lee starring sequel with the subtitle Your Sister is a Werewolf. But the series has a lot to offer after that, both good and bad. Digging even further, you find out that there's a series of books that the movies are based off of. And by based, I mean they share a name.
Huh, we even shop in the same store. Hey, hermano.
The first movie and the third movie take only the most minor of elements, to the degree that the author had serious problems with Dante's use of the adapted by element, but actually gave input to Part 2 director Felipe Mora to, less than stellar results. The fourth movie is a remake, or rather a more faithful reimagining of the source material, and parts of the other books made their way into parts 5 and 6. People think 2 is bad, but 7 is probably one of the most notoriously bad flicks ever. Like, incomprehensibly bad at times. The series should be watched and discussed, and really I could have chosen any number of them to discuss, well, not number 7. But Howling III the Marsupials has a special mix of elements that begs for viewers to discover it or give it a second chance.
Number 3 is like Casablanca compared to number 7.
The first film did well at the box office, making $17.5 million off a $1.5 million budget, and the sequel bombed both with critics and audiences. Howling 3 would get a very limited release as well, and would be the final theatrical opening for the series, and starting with this film, all future Howlings would do what Carpenter wanted to do with Halloween, and make it sort of an anthology series. Werewolves would take center stage, but nothing else would link them together. The movie is late-era Ozploitation that mixes humor, horror, ridiculous elements, and pretty great special effects. Well, mostly. The movie opens with a silly homage to the MGM logo with an unknown creature roaring in place of the lion. We get uneasy music with just a twinge of the outback before opening on a video shot in 1905 in Australia of a tribe next to their trophy kill of some kind of wolf, before switching to Siberia in the middle of an attack. After that whiplash, we are in the NIA, or National Intelligence Agency, where werewolf attacks are being reported in Europe. Dr. Beckmeyer, played by Australian acting staple Barry Otto, is showing the video we saw earlier to his class, and I will say between the music and the silent film footage, it's a little unsettling. Washington has called Beckmeyer in to investigate the existence of werewolves in Australia, which he believes to be ancestors of marsupials. A girl named Jeroba flees her family after her stepfather wants to continue the familial werewolf bloodline, and when she wakes up on a bench, she is spotted by Donnie, who thinks her beauty would be perfect for the horror movie he's working on. The director agrees and hires her for the movie titled Shapeshifters Part 8, which kinda sounds like something we might defend here. Donnie and Jeroba go to the movies and watch It Came from Uranus.
God damn! What the hell happened to you?
Thus far, the movie really leans more towards humor with the dialogue, delivery, and even a fourth wall breaking moment between characters looking at us and acknowledging themselves being filmed.
Why are we being filmed?
Don't let it bother you, Beckmeyer.
Not all the humor lands, but I can appreciate its purpose, and a lot of it is nods to previous films. The first Howling and An American Werewolf in London do a great job of walking that fine line between humor and horror, and while this falls short, it fits in with its forefathers. I can also appreciate the fake movie within a movie, and while it's not as funny as the porn theater movie in Werewolf in London, It Came From Uranus is silly and has better special effects than a movie with that title deserves. JoBlo and Donnie sleep together with a pretty cool version of Bad Moon Rising playing in the background. She debunks some of the myths behind werewolves before admitting to being one herself. 3 of JoBlo's sisters, who look like side villains out of a Bond movie in their nun outfits, show up to get her back, and at the wrap party we see JoBlo start to change from the strobe lights. Hey, some continuity from the series. Kinda. She flees and ends up in the hospital, where they find out that she's pregnant. She has nightmares with some more cool special effects before her sisters take out most of the hospital and bring her back to her village led by Thylo. Thylo is played by another Australian that guy actor named Max Fairchild. Fairchild was in the first 2 Mad Max movies, as well as a handful of other staples of the genre in the late 70s and 80s. And if you don't think Ozploitation is a genre, then go watch my review of Razorback for a little bit of history. More characters are introduced as we get werewolf dancer Olga and her telepath wolf partner trying to find Thylo to mix the bloodlines for a super wolf. She changes mid-dance and kills off her co-stars before being captured and studied by Beckmeyer when her partner comes in to help and takes out most of the room with a hilariously bad dummy falling the length of a building. And here lies another issue I have with the film. It's PG-13, and while I don't have a problem with PG-13 horror in general, this movie and series begs to be R-rated. There are so many kills in this movie, over 30 by my count. There's hardly any blood or graphic kills to be seen. It's a shame that with the love and care put into the special effects that the team couldn't shine with the high kill count. As a side note, the language, number of deaths, sex, and near nudity, I'm not really sure how this skated by with a PG-13 rating in general. JoBlo flees again and is now able to give birth to her were-marsupial child, while townsfolk and military decide to take action. Olga has found Thylo, and Donnie has found JoBlo and their baby, but the military has also found the camp.
Marky got with Sharon, and Sharon got Cherie.
They take Olga and Thylo back to the lab to figure out what they are.
I am lycanthrope.
An interrogation with Thylo is the best part of the movie, with Fairchild's performance being over-the-top villainous and a tad unhinged. The movie actually forgets it's not very good here and has a pretty compelling transformation scene that shows the pain, anger, and sadness associated with the change. The whole scene is shown with a mix of normal shots and through the video equipment the scientists are using for research. Things are blowing up in the background, screaming from all parties, and the film's best transformation make for the film's best sequence. And after they sedate him, they figure out in wolf form he looks like an extinct animal that was hunted out of existence. The last third of the movie fully goes off the rails, and in my opinion, for the better. Beckmeyer gets angry because the government wants to kill off all the werewolves and changes to their side. Olga gets her best performance in her interrogation and throws another nod to the first film before escaping with Beckmeyer and Thylo to help save JoBlo, Donnie, and their baby. An Aboriginal man who wants to help the remainder of the tribe summons the wolf spirit to take out the hunters and military in another missed opportunity. We get predator vision as the hunters are killed like a 1940s movie by mostly being pushed over, and we get the best dialogue in the whole film, maybe the whole series.
Oh, he's this giant monster, eh? Huge, eh? You know, he's got long teeth, really long. And you know what? Could you imagine? You got one tooth. You put one tooth down in your mouth, it'll come out of your asshole. No shit.
They burn his body, and Thylo gets the itch to help too, this time becoming a giant wolf boar. In another missed opportunity, we only see the top half, and for only a second as Thylo sacrifices himself to finish the job. We also get an Army of Darkness Harryhausen-like wolf skeleton attack when the burned body still has time to be helpful. That's 4 different kind of wolf things in the movie if you're counting. Beckmeyer and Olga, now in love, stay behind while Donnie and JoBlo flee with their child. Olga and Beckmeyer now have 2 children of their own, and his old partner finally finds them and claims that all is forgiven. The Pope has decreed werewolves part of God's children. Sure. While this is insane and stupid and feels like Poochie having to go back to his home planet, it also feels right at home here. In America, Donnie and JoBlo are a famous actor and director team, and Beckmeyer has gone back with Olga to teach. Donnie and JoBlo's son find Beckmeyer and tell him what happened and who they are. JoBlo wins the equivalent of an Oscar, but once she gets on stage, the lights make her change in the final callback to the first movie, and their fates are left unknown. Now look, this movie, and really the series as a whole, it's not going to rank up there on anyone's top list anytime soon. It won't beat out the upper echelon series like Friday, Halloween, Nightmare, or Child's Play. Is the movie a hidden gem? Well, no, but it's better than all the Hellraisers after 4. It's better than the Saw movie I defended last year. Philippe Mora will never be the known director that some of his contemporaries will be, but with stuff like the 2 Howling sequels, The Beast Within, and A Breed Apart, his catalog is much like today's movie, underseen and unfairly judged. Movies need to be remembered and seen, if nothing else for the preservation of it. Go watch the Howling sequels, binge those children in that corn, master those puppets, and you can start with a crazy were-marsupial movie with a big heart and nothing to lose.
4 stars. Check it out, and we'll be here for the full Howling experience.